We were a little ruckusy earlier before you got here.
Were you?
Yeah, we're giving Connie a little bit of trouble.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Signed up for time to give it back, apparently.
I call to order this regular meeting of the Navasota Planning and Zoning Commission for June 12th, 2025. If you have not already silenced your phones, please do so at this time. And as you are able, please rise for the invocation and the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening as we conduct some very important business. We ask that you guide us in making the best possible decisions. We also ask that you look over our country right now during this time of upheaval. Bless all of us in the things that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remarks of visitors
No, sir. We have one, but it was for item number
for
6.
item. So that'll take us to agenda item number 4, consideration and possible action on a final replat application and subdivision improvement agreement submitted by JCLB Investments LLC for the purpose of developing a single dwelling 10-lot residential subdivision. The property affected is located along Dove Crossing Lane and White Wing Streets in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas 77868, legally described as Dove Crossing Block 7, Lot 3R, acres 4.0065. You paying?
Mr. Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, good evening. Excited to get this project across the finish line. As you read, this is a final replat for essentially phase 2 of the Dove Crossing PUD project. For your consideration tonight, you have the final replat as well as a subdivision improvement agreement. The final plat was reviewed in accordance with all applicable subdivision regulations, as well as the Dove Crossing PUD zoning district and the original preliminary plat. Again, this is phase 2. All public improvements that were required in this phase were completed and inspected. I know our public works project manager and field inspector did a great job ensuring that the improvements built on the ground were in accordance with the plans, and so that's been really helpful. And there are 2 things, however, that are outstanding, which is why the developer has requested approval of the agreement. One of them being the cluster mailbox area, and the second is sidewalks connecting said mailbox area to phase 1 along the four existing lots. Both of those items total to $22,500, and they've opted for the cash escrow for y'all's consideration. The agreement was reviewed by the city's legal counsel. Following the last meeting, I know we had some feedback about just the general language of the agreement. So Carrie did tweak it and added a signature spot as well as a date of when the Planning and Zoning Commission considers it or approves it. And again, we're recommending approval of the final plat and the subdivision agreement as presented.
Where are they intended on putting the cluster mailbox?
It is actually in Dove, right along Dove Crossing Lane. I'd say it's probably 60% complete already, but it's just going to be a pull in right off of Dove Crossing Lane. So there'll be 2 parking spots where if you're traveling, I guess, east on Dove Crossing Lane, you can turn off left, and there'll be 2 parking spots with a covered cluster mailbox
So is
area.
it near the 4 houses that
Yes,
are already
yes,
there?
right next to the 4 houses.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And that will serve those 4 as well as
The
the
other
10 new in the back. Yeah.
So is this street gonna be extended right here? How are they gonna get to these houses?
Yes, the improvements are completed.
Okay.
All roadways, or the
Wow.
street, utilities, sidewalks, they're all complete. Yeah.
Okay, because it's like, it's not showing that, and it's like, whoa, how are they gonna get there? Okay.
And is there a reason why phase two didn't end in a cul-de-sac?
That was actually part of the original PUD petition. Because of the small amount of acres they had to work with outside of the flood zone, they actually requested that specifically in the original PUD that said allow White Wing to end as a dead-end street without a cul-de-sac, and that was approved at the time.
Okay, I don't remember back that far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've been living and breathing this project every day, so we remember it every time we go out there.
Can you point out what the changes were in the subdivision agreement?
Yes, the main thing was on the very last page, right before the exhibits, where it mentions what the value of the outstanding items are. Our legal counsel added a City of Navasota Planning and Zoning Commission approval form, where it basically just says at the time of the meeting that this item was considered, as well as a signature location for the chairman.
So note the last one for Pecan Grove, this was already executed when we got it. This one hasn't been executed yet?
No, and again, until the planning and zoning approves it by a vote, it doesn't matter if even this was signed all the way. Until this board approves it,
Okay.
that's in accordance with the ordinance. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions or input from nearby homeowners, residents?
Nope. And I forgot to mention Lee Burton, the project owner, is here tonight if y'all have any questions.
Because there's only one, I guess they haven't, yeah, okay. Never mind.
So we've done that.
And there was no parkland fee or anything, right?
No, sir, not on this project.
Was that because of the size? The 10 acres?
That was the original PUD presentation for it.
Okay.
Isn't it in close proximity to
Mm-hmm.
park
To the
area?
pond.
Yeah, that
Yeah, there was-
area.
There was a lot of discussion there at the time about the pond, about the existing park, about how this was a replat instead of just raw land developing. So
Okay.
So within 90 days, they're supposed to have the cluster and the sidewalks built?
correct. Yeah, 90 days or the maximum of 2 years is the discretion that they have basically. But obviously they're gonna get it done a lot sooner because those 4 houses on Dove Crossing, they're nearing completion.
How long will it take to build these houses?
The 10? Every house takes about 4 to 6 months.
Is that right?
So
But they kind of build them all simultaneously.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the builder's gonna be, but
Okay.
depending on who the builder is, I guess how quickly they'll go up.
Okay.
If it's D.R. Horton, they'll build all 10 of them in 2 weeks.
There was no change from the last time this plat came to now.
No, sir. Yep. No.
It's just the infrastructure stuff has been reviewed.
Yep. All infrastructure. Yep. No changes from the original preliminary plat approved here.
Okay.
And we've got the deposit set.
Yes.
Okay. Cash escrow. Sorry, I used the wrong word. But it is a deposit of a cash escrow.
Yes.
we've made it this far with this. So I make a motion, we approve the final replat application and subdivision improvement agreement submitted by JCLB Investments LLC for the purpose of developing a single dwelling, 10-lot residential subdivision. Property affected is located along Dove Crossing Lane and White Wing Street in Navasota, Grimes County, 77868. Described as Dove Crossing Block 7, Lot 3R, acres 4.0065.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Copeland and a second from Commissioner Barcheck. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, the motion carries. That brings us to agenda item number 5.
Good luck, folks.
Consideration and possible action on a final plat application for Hidden Hills Phase 4 submitted by Anti-Development LLC for the purpose of developing a single dwelling 23-lot residential subdivision. The property affected is located along High Street in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868. Legally described as A0002 D. Arnold, Track 11, Parcel 10, acres 8.966.
Mr. Chairman, very similar to the last item. However, this one did not require a subdivision improvement agreement because all infrastructure items are completed. As you mentioned, this is 23 single-family residential lots, the 4th phase, but not the last phase. Phase 3 will be the last phase of this project. The total Hidden Hills subdivision was 105 lots. And so after these 23 lots, there'll be an additional 30 remaining. The proposed final plat was reviewed in accordance with the subdivision regulations, and all required improvements have been inspected for compliance with the construction plans.
Remind me what the size of these lots are.
Those are,
Says like a 45.
I thought they were 45 back in the.
yeah, I
can't
think
read
that's correct.
Sorry.
I think they're 45,
They are 45.
like all Black Rock lots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the PUD outlined a minimum of 45 by 90.
What's that by 100 as well?
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot to pull up the picture on the last item, but I did take some pictures of these projects. Here is phase 4. So that plat lines up with obviously what you see on screen.
Okay.
They didn't build the elbow the wrong direction and ended up on Business 6.
They even have the streetlights in, huh?
Oh yeah, it's all complete. Yes, sir. And Jeff Robertson is here with McLaren Brown, project engineer, if y'all have any questions.
And where's the cluster mailbox on this one?
So all of the, all
the
phases
street.
are served by, in phase 1, it's off
Okay.
Laredo Street.
You weren't here for the discussion
I wasn't
on
here
that
for that.
drive off from Laredo into a pull-in space for, and whether or not for the parking, for the mailbox. That was fun. Nothing's changed in this final plat version from the preliminary plats that were approved.
No, sir, I think if anything, there's probably one less lot. One of the lots here along the bend,
That wound up
It
being
just-
green space instead of a lot.
it just didn't have enough depth to be a lot. So I think there was a reduction of one lot, Jeff, if I remember correctly. But everything else is the same.
And have the existing houses been successful?
Well, I drove through there. I
Occupied.
drove through there earlier this week, and I didn't see a single empty driveway. So I think
Okay.
I think they're doing well.
Okay, good.
Just curious, is that asphalt or concrete street?
Asphalt.
Or standard's concrete though, right?
The new standard is concrete, yeah. Yeah, when this project, the asphalt was still an option. Asphalt and a little bit of dirt right now with the recent rains.
Right.
Probably a whole lot of dirt after today.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the final plat application for Hidden Hills Phase 4 submitted by Anti-Development LLC for the purpose of developing a single dwelling 23 lot residential subdivision. The property affected is located along High Street, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868, legally described as 80002 D Arnold Tract 2, R10 acres, 8.966.
I'll second.
Have a motion from, to approve from Carolyn and a second from, Commissioner Katkowski and a second from Commissioner Wisner. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Seeing none, the motion carries. Good. Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
That brings us to agenda item number 6, consideration and possible action on a preliminary site plan application submitted by Wipro Real Estate LLC for the purpose of developing 2 commercial driveways. The property affected is located at FM 3090 and State Highway 6, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas 77868. Legally described as S8490 Vivaldi subdivision, lot 3R, acres 3.463 of replat 22-326635.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to go first, or do you want the public comment first? Connie, do you have a preference? Go ahead. All right. Mr. Chairman, Planning and Zoning, a brief summary. A bit unconventional. This is a site plan that really is just 4 driveways. Speaking with the developer and the project engineer that's here tonight, Cole Christian, the landowner would like a phased approach on this project. They want to, I guess, baby step it, for lack of better words. The first step is getting their driveways approved. In your packet, you do have a copy of the approved TxDOT permit. And at a future date, a new preliminary site plan will be submitted for all of the interior work, with all the other requirements, of course, checked off. Their long-range end goal is to develop a mini truck stop / fuel cells, so basically a gas station with truck stop components. And again, that's a little bit down the road. They first wanted to pursue just the driveways, and TxDOT has already approved their design, but of course they have to go before this group to get the final approval. And again, Cole Christian is here if y'all have any questions.
It is a tad bit unconventional. Connie,
Go ahead, Connie. See if we're thinking the same thing.
That would be in good company then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connie Clements, 300 Hillside Street, Navasota. And I don't know if Cole can address this or not, or if it's really TxDOT. When I was looking at it, I see that there's going to be a decel lane, but you've also, if they're leaving, if you've got an 18-wheeler pulling out and they're going to go get on Highway 6 South, and they're going to enter at the entrance ramp, why is there not an XL lane Because if the decel lane ends at the driveway and they go to pull out, they're going to be taking up the 2 lanes of traffic. I'm just seeing some congestion there, or possible accidents or something with 18-wheelers pulling out, going south, if they're pulling out onto the feeder. I mean, is that any?
No,
Yeah,
Cole,
please.
can you?
Yeah, thank you, Connie, for your concern. Yeah, so to maybe help provide some peace on that question, the intersection at 3090 and Highway 6 feeder road is a stop sign right there. So, I mean, cars have come to a complete stop, and if they haven't, they just broke the law and they're already putting someone else in danger. So that was TxDOT's big thing. I actually even put in that we probably don't even need a decel lane, but we offered because we don't even meet the decel lane length technically, but cars have already come to a stop, and TxDOT agreed that we can shorten the decel lane because cars aren't moving at 55 miles an hour. I mean, I guess they could if they really gunned it from the stop sign, but I don't think the average person is doing that. Also, when we gave them our preliminary site plan, the goal is to hopefully, we don't know if the site plan is going to look like that. It's just an effort to try to give them an idea of what we've thought about. And it's in part of the permit. Yeah, that one. There was enough truck storage like in the actual like lot to where trucks could take their time to pile up in the lot and then turn out when it's safe. So. To the future on-ramp, I don't know off the top of my head.
I got it right here. Roughly 345 feet. And a semi's, what, 60, 70 foot
Mm-hmm.
total with the tractor?
Yeah.
3090's a county road, right?
That's correct.
So was there any
Yeah, it's FM.
It's a state
actually
highway.
it's a state, so there was no consideration about that road? We're worried about,
Both. No, I had to get a permit for both driveways because the driveway on 3090, this is the permit for both, but yes.
but the only thing you're doing to 3090 is just basically paving from the driveway, from the lot out to 3090.
Mhm.
And the driveway to the feeder road is gonna be gravel?
No, sir.
No.
What am
All
I
of this
looking
is
at? Mine says
concrete.
gravel.
Oh, that's existing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sitting there going, what the?
Yeah, we're getting rid of the gravel.
Yeah.
There's a couple gravel and asphalt driveways that we're removing.
Yeah, this property had a lot of driveways before.
Yeah, that's why TxDOT was happy with this, especially because I mean, people can enter and leave the site with a semi right now if they want to anyways, because there's driveways that they're allowed to use.
All these
We're
are-
eliminating those and we're putting them at the furthest distance from that intersection for this property, and that's
what
why
TxDOT
TxDOT
was.
liked that. So,
And just to reference the FM 3090 Piedmont, that is the city's truck route as well. So there's already a lot of, I mean, that is the route that trucks should take, not through downtown.
part of my question is when you look at this as a gas station and you have vehicles approaching it from two directions, it's a lot of things on a feeder road. All the traffic coming to it is coming from the feeder road. And in this situation, traffic's coming to it from the feeder road, but there could be trucks that want to utilize this, that are coming from 3090, coming from town out, right, in eastbound, with the idea that they would be pulling into this facility, using it, and then coming back out onto that piece of 3090, right? And coming back out onto that piece of 3090 so that then they can go northbound on 6. And I feel like there wasn't maybe some thought put into that, right? Because just like Connie's talking about with trucks pulling out slow, you say there's a stop sign. There is a stop sign, but there is not a stop sign going eastbound on 3090. So you've got potentially trucks pulling out onto 3090 with very little shoulder there. I mean, I don't see the measurements in these maps of how much shoulder there is on that piece of road, but it looks to me like you've got trucks pulling out through one of these driveways, two driveways here, with very little shoulder pulling out into traffic that could be moving down. Some of that traffic will be going through traffic. Some of it will be turning onto the feeder road. Some of it, like me, slows down and goes northbound every day. So I have a concern about those trucks, not the ones that Connie's concerned about. So didn't give a consideration to that. I mean, do they understand that this is a road that we force trucks onto to get around town? Or do they not think about that because, they've got 20 million miles of road to deal with in this state? So
No, I mean, they're not worried because the traffic count was not high for a gas station like this. They weren't worried about it for that reason, but also, I mean, something to consider, most trucks want to go to a stoplight rather than a stop sign. And the stop sign light, if they're going to take a left, they're going to go down the feeder road all the way to the stop sign at
but
105.
if a truck on 3090 decides he's going to use that as a fuel stop and he's a northbound 6 truck,
Mhm.
you think he's going to go on the feeder road, go south, do the loop at Washington, and then go north
Right.
and not turn on 3090 so that he can just do a 50-yard dog leg and get back on?
Yeah.
Well,
but
I think you're giving him way too much credit there, because going down and looping around in front of McDonald's is twice the aggravation of just trying to pull out on the 3090 and go north.
I mean, I can't control what other people do, and TxDOT felt that it was, safe and that we met all their standards and what they required. And TxDOT is very stringent on their stuff, so it is one of those things that I am not.
Then why worry about having the decel lane on where they have a stop sign?
Right.
If they're worried about that, why aren't they worried about 3090? I think somebody missed something here. That's where I'm coming from.
Right. I understand.
If you got a stop sign and you're 350 feet away and you have to stop to turn there, or the traffic has to stop before it comes across to run up on your back, and you've got a decel lane to get over and get into the lot, then what are we doing what's the speed limit on 3090 there? 45, 50?
Heading north is 55.
So you do have 55-mile-an-hour traffic there
On
on 3090 going eastbound.
right.
And you're just saying it's because of volume, that's their concern. We don't have enough cars to worry about having an accident.
Well, you can always have an accident, right? Anyone runs the risk of an accident. Somebody texting on their phone or whatever, but I mean, eventually as you develop the city, it's going to be more and more traffic. And the best you can do is this is a very wide throat of a driveway. It's 40-foot wide. They have a lot of time and space that they can take their time, and people coming in. Like I said, they currently can pull trucks in there now if they want to park trucks on that site. And now we're making them bottleneck further away from the intersection, and we're giving them a wider space to take their time and pull off. And we put in a decel lane on that street on the feeder road, which is safer than what it was before. So,
Cole, what would be the distance from the proposed driveway to the feeder road?
proposed, are you talking about the 3090 driveway?
Yes.
I want to say it's probably pretty similar to, let me look at it right here.
I can't read it on here.
It's about 300.
It's probably going to be
It's
close
about
to
the same.
350. So
Okay.
it's similar to the other one, to the
Yeah, I was gonna
basically
ask you again,
intersection.
anything else that you said
That's
about
only a
this
two-way
driveway?
stop sign, right? It's not a four-way stop.
The only
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah,
on the
only-
feeder
only-
road.
Feeder road's the
Yeah,
stop.
this traffic doesn't stop. And I think one thing too on the decel lane, it does help traffic that's coming westbound, crosses the bridge and turns south on the feeder, because that traffic can come in and get on the deceleration lane to turn into the store, because that traffic doesn't stop. Traffic coming from this side of the bridge westbound can use that deceleration lane. So it is beneficial in that regard.
They have white shoulders.
Yeah, they do have
I mean, you
one.
drive cars
Mm-hmm.
on each side of 39.
4-lane road.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's our bike path.
I think 3090 carries a lot of 18-wheeler traffic.
Yeah, because it's a truck route.
Yeah, I mean, it's major. And they're going fast. Carrying gravel and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's a big shoulder.
Yeah, it's like a whole car.
Mm-hmm.
And how many feet, Ethan, did you say was from this driveway to the on-ramp? You said it a minute
I
ago.
think he said 350.
We're going
Yeah,
from,
350.
we're going from Bingham, right? Bingham Road?
Probably, I would say more on the corner,
Yeah. I
because
thought
the
it
new
was
driveway is
this
right on
way.
the edge of the deal, so that's,
Yeah, it would be right there.
Okay.
that's 250.
Okay.
Go
Yeah.
further down, he's going further down.
Okay.
It's up there too, but he's going like from here.
Okay. So they're gonna have to get over in that other lane pretty rapidly
Yeah.
to get on to Highway 6.
Right.
Because, there's a lot of, where Highway 6 and the Business 6 come together now and merge, and there's no yield sign or anything, it kind of brings fear,
Mm-hmm.
merging those two things together right there. So I would hate to see this have a similar issue.
I don't know if I've ever seen a truck stop with entrances and exits without a 4-way stop on the corner. There's no stop sign here. This traffic's going. There's
No.
no stop, well, there's a stop sign here, but
Yeah. Yeah, so the stop's up there.
normally there'd be a light here, right?
Exactly.
And over the years, we have had conversations with TxDOT about we would love a light on both sides of 3090, but they're just, they're based on traffic counts.
The counts
traffic
are high enough.
And so they just say it doesn't warrant it. They've made some improvements. They added lights recently. They added the flashing stop signs.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's one of those things, chicken or the egg. You have to get the traffic first
Well,
before you get the lights.
It
And
may change if they have a truck stop there.
yeah, it might go the opposite direction. That's right.
Very interesting.
Do you have any idea what the traffic count is at that intersection?
Unless Cole knows off the top of his noggin, I can
I do not.
look it up.
The speed limit's 55 on that end of Piedmont. That's also a little scary.
Yeah, it hits 55 right after you go on the bend and you get past that.
After the turn in the house.
After Victoria Street,
Yeah.
then it turns to 55, but you should be at 35, I believe,
Well,
getting there.
Right.
so a big acceleration, and then you have to slam on the brakes and stop.
It's 120 foot at the widest part of the driveway. On 3090.
I'm
So
sorry,
it's 40
100
foot of driveway, then it opens to another 30 or 50 feet, right?
where you,
On this one? Or am I reading this completely wrong?
So it's about
It's like
3,000
120.
cars a day.
Oh, yeah.
The opening of the road, right?
3,000?
Yeah, so
3,000
yeah,
a day.
what the radius is, but the throat is.
Right. Right.
That's
They're
probably
turning, you're
less
gonna
when school's
cut
not in
it.
session.
Do what?
It's probably less when school's not in session, because
Yeah, I think-
everybody coming out of the high school going down to 3090 versus trying to get out on Highway 90.
Yeah, that's the exit 387 above the 3,000.
Right.
Yeah, but that is a state roadway as well, 3090. Both the feeder roads and 3090, they're both tech stop owned and operated.
Is that the driveway for the feeder, is that gonna service anything that goes into that, of all these other property right there?
Yes, so eventually it will, and that was part of why we showed that access driveway,
yeah.
and we told them, you know, there will be minor vehicle traffic, it's not really truck traffic. There, I mean, trucks will go in there to drop stuff off if they need to,
Sure,
but it's
sure.
not like a truck stop type place, so it's more of an office.
Yeah, I think if this ever develops, TxDOT would likely have this closed.
Yeah,
Sure.
they don't want them to use that driveway. They want them coming all out the same point. And that also pushes that driveway further. Like the driveway that they currently have is really close to that on-ramp.
It's right across.
Is like right across from it. So it gives them a little more space.
So is there, I don't know how to ask the question, I guess, any, if you're talking about future
Mhm.
and truck stop, any idea of sort of the capacity of how many trucks you expect to be there, or,
I think, I
you
mean,
know, sort of the usage, I guess I'd say.
yeah, we have like roughly, I think there's, I can't remember how many spaces there are now because we've changed it so many times.
9 or
There's
so.
only 7 on there. I
Yeah,
think.
7. So it's not like a huge stop. It's, I think, 30 to 40 a day. I mean, is what he was anticipating, but,
It's not gonna be a Circle T, in other words.
no, I don't think so. I mean, we're hoping, I mean, hopefully as this town develops, hopefully it'll be able to handle more, but, I mean, because there's not really a truck stop that's super close to here. And like you said, this road's used a lot by that, so it was just kind of an opportunity.
Yeah, I think this very closely resembles Hi-Ho.
Yeah.
And of course, Hi-Ho's probably going to go away at some point
Is that
with the
right?
flyover construction of
Oh, yeah.
105, 249. So,
Okay,
Then it's just circle.
mhm.
okay.
As long as the new one is called Hi-Ho 2, so it can live on forever, that'd be, and the same breakfast tacos, that'd be, but that's on the other site plan, not this one. We'll have to put that as a comment.
The expected flow of trucks through this property is if the fueling station is here, is that what that is? The Spore Banger here?
Yeah, that's the def, and that would be like the trucker one.
Okay,
Yes.
so if they're coming in and out through there, they've got to do a turn, they're going all the way through the lot?
Yes. Yeah, but all
So
those,
they're coming in, they're coming around and going back out, or they're coming in through there, coming through here and coming out this way?
yeah, they can. Or they can
but-
go back around if they want to go back the out.
Well, this is a pretty big choke because your driveway is right in this corner. You've got the building and parking spaces here.
Right.
So this is really limiting to truck.
I think it's important to remember, this is a 40-foot wide drive, Todd. It's a big, big drive. Normally your standard driveway or road is 24 feet. It's almost double that. So this is a really big, wide area. On this plan, it looks super small, right? Because it's scaled differently. But
Mhm.
I mean, 40 feet, a lot of stuff can get around in 40 feet. So, I mean, an average truck, I mean, TxDOT's lanes, they're 14-foot wide. And so, I mean, we're over double that here, So, and that's moving at 75 miles an hour. So,
What's the distance from that last parking spot to the truck parking?
let me see. I think it's, I think I got it right here.
Well, if his map's to scale, it's at
Oh,
least
wait, I'm
40.
sorry, I don't have that. That's on the,
It's 30,
I-
40 feet if his map's to scale.
I want to be clear about this. We can talk about this,
Yeah.
but this is not what we're here
No,
for.
no, I
And
know. I was
this may
just
look
curious.
completely different, so.
Right.
Well,
I
no,
don't wanna
it's about but you're putting driveways and you're forcing vehicles to use the driveways. The question is, how often do they have to use this driveway versus that driveway based off the way you're forcing them to use where your pumps are? So, I mean, part of having driveways is how are they being used?
Right, and this layout, like the building could move, and that's why we're going for the driveways, because in theory, TxDOT does not look at this as, oh, it's only gonna use this driveway, because you can't just assume that they're gonna use this driveway. Well, you could say all trucks are gonna use this other one, because for whatever reason, they decided to use them that day. They're gonna look at the worst case scenario. They're not gonna look at, hey, we're gonna assume 30% here and 20% here, so.
What do they do? They say they assume for a Chick-fil-A at every intersection?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That's their baseline what happens if a Chick-fil-A goes here instead of a truck stop? That's what they look at all the driveway entrances for now.
Smart thinking.
Unofficially.
There it is, flashing red stop sign.
And the reason why the client's wanting to do this is TxDOT is typically very difficult to get driveways from. And they didn't have all the funding to do this, but they wanted to go ahead and get this rolling so that when they wanted to develop this, they could just bring the new site plan to you guys, and hopefully that would go a lot smoother and faster than having to wait on TxDOT to approve all these things and go through all that. So that was kind of the reason why this was broken up, one, financially, and two, because of timing. So.
I think he's had a little bit of experience with these.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the same issue everybody else does. It's just an 18-wheeler blocking the whole feeder road to get onto Highway 6. Because there's only one stop sign, and it's only those who are coming off of 6. No one else has a stop sign.
Yeah.
And it's only 400 feet from the intersection to the outlet of that driveway. Then you got a 70-foot truck trying to speed up to 70 miles an hour. I'm not the engineer, but.
On which part of the feeder? Sorry, you kind of lost me.
So from the intersection to the outlet of the 3090 exit, the Highway 6 feeder exit, is 400 feet roughly. But there's only one stop sign at that intersection. It's those going southbound on the feeder road.
Right there.
So no one else has a stop sign. So if you're coming from,
Oh, I see. You're saying if somebody's coming across 3090 or up 3090, they're turning, they're
there's
not,
no stop sign.
they're not starting from the
And there's
stop.
only 400 feet from the intersection to the outlet. And then you had a 70-foot truck trying to cross 2 lanes of feeder road to get on an on-ramp.
Because he's gonna get shut down as he gets on the, yeah.
Need any more fatalities on our roadways.
Boy, howdy. Because with Piedmont, coming one way, you can go straight or you can turn right. Coming the other way, you can go straight or turn left.
If we made them where they couldn't turn onto the on-ramp, then that would make more sense, in my opinion. But then it would cause more traffic where we don't want it. So,
Yeah.
because we don't want all the 18-wheelers to end up at 6 in
In Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
That would be a disaster. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean about them going down to do the loop around. If they go, if they came out onto the feeder road and went down to do the full under the turn and leave, then all they're doing is killing everybody that's getting onto
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the feeder
we don't
from
want
down
them
there.
to go that way.
No.
I think the on-ramp causes it.
Which then is, then you force them out on the 3090 this way to go northbound. And then you've got this pull out on 3090 where you're only utilizing the shoulder space, the existing shoulder space at 3090. And you don't have the traffic slowing down there because they're coming around the corner and then hitting 50 mile an hour as they go out there.
Or you figure out how to not have a truck exit on the feeder.
Mhm.
Can't be used as a truck exit. Force them back on the 3090 to take a right,
Yeah.
which would be a natural stop.
And then it'd
If
be
there's
much
cars-
To do
slower.
a right turn,
Yeah,
they darn near have to take a dead stop with the truck, yeah.
and they'd be moving at a much slower pace.
Then it's just them pulling out that slow while people are coming at them without,
They can turn
all they
in,
have
but
is the extra shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who makes that rule. But
Yeah, like you say, it's this volume game. They're making decisions based off of numbers of vehicles and we're looking at it as my neighbor. It's a little different.
Yeah.
Well, and
What-
just I mean, if I were to offer any advice, if you were to say, hey, we're not going to allow them to turn on that road, and then somebody does get killed on 3090, that's y'all who told them to say that. It's not TxDOT approval.
Sure.
I think it's just very careful. You know, TxDOT's looking at this. I'm just offering my opinion. It's just they've looked at this. They feel that it's safe, and I think that is a good thing. I mean, they don't. That's literally what they deal with is this every day. So and like I said, they're usually a very difficult entity to check things off through because they are very stringent about their rules and traffic counts and checking all that stuff. So I would take that with some confidence.
I mean, I do, but they somewhat look at today's traffic count, not
That's what
traffic
I'm
count 5
thinking
years
too.
from now.
Yeah.
Look at 249.
When was the data used to do this? Is this current data?
Yes, and it's still
Traffic count data from 2024?
right, and it's still projected out though. They make you do future projections, but I mean, you know, this area is blowing up. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I mean, I
In
want
20 years, it may be way more than what you
They're
know or
doing,
whatever.
they're doing the same thing at Circle T though. They're coming out, most trucks go out onto Spur 515 and
Right,
continue.
but there's a stoplight.
But there are trucks that come out of the front of Circle T onto the feeder road
Right.
to make the U-turn and
Sure.
go back towards
But there's a
Bryan.
stoplight.
Not where they're coming out of the parking lot. They're coming out across 2 lanes of feeder road to make the U-turn and go back
Yeah.
north.
I haven't seen them do that, but I
I do.
believe it. I believe it. The
I
drivers.
go in there all the time. I see it happening all the time. So.
I would think at some point in time, that entrance ramp to get off of the feeder road onto 6, TxDOT's gonna change.
It's gonna
that as
be
well.
moved.
Yeah, I mean, it
yeah.
will.
They move those ramps all the time, so.
Especially in Bryan College Station.
Well, not just there.
Pretty much.
But it's almost, you know, it's kind of like, well, how many people have to get killed or how many, you know, do they, it seems like in Bryan College Station, they're moving them because there's additional businesses or something going in. And,
I think it's the
Cole, do you have any
congestion.
idea how far down the road we're looking before they actually do the preliminary site plan for the rest of it?
I honestly don't know. I think it's
Okay.
closer to a year, but that could change. It could be. I don't know that from him. I haven't asked
Okay.
that. Sorry. So, but I think that's what the lookout was originally. I don't know if it's, you know, that may change depending on how his finances do, or, you know.
Well, it took them 2 years to build the Fairway, whatever they call that, flyaway convenience store.
oh, yeah.
Looking really good. Almost done.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah. You feel free to ask anymore.
Does this go to council after?
No.
Okay.
I just had mixed feelings. Can the driveways be moved any direction, like the one on 3090 may be moved further away from?
So all these go away, yeah.
Those are the.
Right.
Yeah, they go away.
Oh, okay, okay,
That's what I got confused with.
okay.
green
Oh,
ones.
yeah, okay. That makes sense. So, okay, that one makes me feel better, the one on 3090 then. Okay, a lot better.
So if we approve it, then there is a safety concern on that. That's a text dot issue then, right?
That's correct.
What do you mean by safety issue? You mean harm is done?
No, I mean, like, it turns into be a safety risk for tractors pulling out of it. I don't know.
So this driveway can't be moved closer to here?
No, they don't, TxDOT doesn't like them closer to the
To the
intersection.
intersection,
So they want it as
okay.
far away as possible from the intersection.
Makes sense.
My concern isn't its location. My concern is the way the traffic's gonna be coming out of it and how that affects everybody else. And I know Cole's saying that, those are the numbers that they do and that, that's their job. And I know it's their job. It doesn't mean I'm accepting of their decision, that's all. But I get it. But
Has the preliminary site plan for what we've seen been presented to TxDOT, or just where the,
So this, plan right here is what I have given to them, and
Okay.
it's part of the permit documents, so
Okay.
that they understand that this is our goal, and these are the amount of trucks we're thinking about using, this is how many cars, parking spaces we have, so we're assuming this many people, coming in and out, and yes, so
Okay.
we're using this, and basically, if we do change it, we're gonna have to let them know to make sure that the traffic counts don't change, right? And then if they don't change, then.
But you put the drives on the edges of the property.
Mhm.
You're not gonna move them closer to the intersections. That wouldn't be something that
No. The
So-
drives. That's why the site's been somewhat graded and preliminary designed. That's why the pond's laid there.
Yeah.
We've provided volume.
No, I'm just saying
all
that
this stuff.
the drives aren't gonna move.
Right.
The question I have is, we have a decel lane, but no acceleration lane, and we don't have anything on this side. The traffic, I don't know what the count difference is on that piece of frontage road versus this piece of 3090. People coming into town, that piece of frontage road, I drive this highway every day. I don't use that piece of frontage road ever. I get off at 3090 and come this way, or I go to Washington. I don't get off there and drive down and then come in behind the elementary school. It's
Right.
not, the church probably uses that piece of road more than anybody. That's the only, or I guess the clinics, then maybe some of the people that go to the clinics. But, But,
use that piece every day.
That's
What's
your
that?
office is right
Yeah,
there.
Because your office is there.
I was worried I'd
But
let
you know what I
know.
mean,
I'm
that-
not gonna put
You know,
something by myself.
and so,
I think what, like Cole mentioned earlier, I mean, TxDOT is very, if they see an issue, I mean, everyone can say it depending on how quick they react to certain things, but I think if there is an increase in traffic here, it'll likely result in a traffic light, which would be a net positive. And if there is an issue of cars leaving this exit and getting onto the ramp in a abrupt manner or unsafe manner, TxDOT would likely move that on-ramp further down, since there is no overpasses nearby that would prevent that. So,
Yeah.
as
or
Cole
like-
said, they did design this based on today's traffic counts. I mean, personally, I hope the traffic goes up so we do get traffic lights there,
Right.
because there's been several accidents. So.
But all these improvements are within their right of way. So if the changes need to be made, they would address those on these driveways or via the intersection or moving the ramp. So it wouldn't be anything y'all would be changing. So regarding this stuff.
I move that we approve the preliminary site plan application submitted by Whitpro Real Estate for the purpose of developing 2 commercial driveways. Property effect is located at FM 3090 and State Highway 6, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas 77868, legally described as S8490, Vivaldi subdivision, lot 3R, acres 3.463, replat 2022-326635.
I'll second it.
Have a motion from Commissioner Barcheck to approve and a second from Commissioner Katkowski. Any further discussion? John?
one for me, I wanted in the records that I will vote to approve based off the fact that I can't deny on the standards.
Kind of the way I feel too. You know, it's just, I don't necessarily feel great about it, but it's like, what other choices are there?
I mean, there's only one standard here that we could even think about trying to call out, and that's safety and efficiency of, and that's an unknown because we don't have real data that says that it will, decrease safety. So we'll wait to see if that happens. But
Right. It's not our determination what's safe or not safe.
Right.
Any others? No? All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you very much, Cole.
Thanks,
Cole. Appreciate it.
No, thank you guys for your consideration, seriously.
And that brings us to agenda item number 7, consideration and possible action on the meeting minutes for the May 22nd, 2025 meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was gonna be like that. Have a motion
She had to
from
make sure you
Commissioner
spelled her
Somebody
name
else
Cudjoe.
a chance
She was
to
checking the
say.
spelling of her name before.
Hey,
Second from Commissioner Katkowski, all in favor, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, the motion carries, and that brings us to adjourn at 6:58 PM.
Most of the time I get pretty